Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Daily Dose. It's Wednesday. It's a gray, dreary Wednesday here. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up a...
But we're not sideways.
No, that's true. All right. Perception is reality. Today we are the correct way, so that's good. So we're talking today about one sentence from an interesting email that Mike Roderick, who we've talked about before, sent out today. And his sentence is this: people will do things the way they've always done them unless there is a really good reason to do them differently. And he, of course, was referencing COVID and how that has shifted all sorts of physical and personal interactions, because mostly we thought everybody needed to be in person before, and that in person was a much greater, more impactful experience than doing something over the phone or over the computer or whatever. And we've pretty quickly learned that while there's no doubt Zoom fatigue and all of that, there's also been really remarkable opportunities that have come because we have had the internet and have been forced to communicate through it for over a year now. So this sentence got us thinking about, Maz's addiction. Imagine that. We were thinking about your addiction as we were trying to think about what to talk about.
Yeah.
But people will do things the way they've always done them unless there is a really good reason to do them differently. So I asked you on the way to spin this morning, if the doctors had said to you in the emergency room, February 1st, 2017, you should really try to cut back your drinking. We're not sure what this is, but it seems, based on the fact that it doesn't seem to be leukemia, it could be alcohol related. You should cut that back. What would you have likely done with that?
In all likelihood, I would have done nothing.
Yeah. And I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's
Yeah.
super Scandinavian,
I've tried New Zealand. Yeah. No, it doesn't work on it. No,
Yes.
no. Yes. I probably wouldn't have, because I at the time didn't think I had a problem.
Well,
Deep down, I did, but I was in denial, so nothing would have changed.
but what I think is interesting about it is it's less about looking back and saying, God, what a loser you were, and more about recognizing that change is hard for many, if not most of us. We all think, oh, I could stop doing this, that, whatever, at any time. You want to know how I know change is hard? Because my cuticles look terrible. So I grew up in a household observing two parents who are and kind of continue to be nail biters, and boy, did I adopt that wholeheartedly, much to my abject shame, horror, and personal disgust. So my nails looked bad most of the time I was growing up, and then, I don't know, 5 years ago, I started getting them done, and so then they always looked amazing, and I had so much pride in my nails. And then the pandemic hit, and my nail salon closed down, and so I stopped, and then I decided I was going to not go back. So I do get my nails, I get a manicure every 6 weeks now, but I don't have any polish put on, I don't have gel, I don't do any of that. And suddenly my beautiful nails are back to looking kind of scraggly, because apparently I'm much more comfortable chewing on my damn hands than I am making a change, even though I hate how they look. You can't really see it. It's very disappointing to me. I loved the years that my hands looked beautiful, and I hate this, and I really dislike this quality in myself, and I seem not unable, I seem unwilling to quit. So do you think, were you unwilling or were you unable to quit? Because we've talked to so many people who chose to quit, and I don't think you would have. And I'm not asking this from a place of judgment. I'm really asking this from a different place.
I actually honestly don't know. I mean, in retrospect, I knew there was something wrong with me, but I didn't know what to do. And maybe some of that it is incredibly possible it could have been fear of change.
Well,
because
yeah.
you know what's going to
Yes.
happen to you.
I'm really going to work on that yaw. God, I'm sorry. I don't mean to derail your important conversation.
No, it's good. Yeah, well, the adage is change is hard. It's frightening to, especially if you know what could happen to you if you stop drinking. I mean, if an alcoholic stops drinking cold turkey, I mean, that's actually a life-threatening
It can be
experience.
very dangerous, can't it?
But asking for help when I had convinced myself there was nothing wrong, no, it wouldn't have dawned on me at all.
Yeah, and I think that we want to look at an addict because, you've heard us say, and you've heard guests say, that for a long time you can hide addiction until you no longer can. It manifests in a variety of ways, often for people. But even if you had wanted help, I'm not positive you would have known how to ask for it because the stakes are so high. I often wonder, what would my response have been if you had come to me and said, all right, all the screaming you've done, I agree with you. Not because I needed to be right, but because you had decided it was true and you needed help. What if I had taken the "see, I told you so" approach, which I'm embarrassed to say I absolutely could have. At that point in our lives, my need to be right might have outweighed my desire to see you change.
But that's also understandable because just out of sheer exasperation too. So that's something else to consider.
You give me a lot of passes, which I appreciate and don't think I always have earned,
true.
to quote you.
One thing I did notice though, I mean, when the pandemic,
Of global proportion.
it's a pandemic. When the pandemic started and we had, it was over spring break, and then of course we were given 2 weeks to put everything online. I sat there and thought, what, how? And then I just took a breath and thought, all right, I'm still sober. This can't be that difficult, and I just did it. Now, if I did it fantastically...
You're talking about teaching online. You got to give that
teaching online.
Yeah.
I've never done that before, but I just thought to myself, for God's sake...
And he's a Luddite in a lot of weird ways,
Yeah.
which is weird for such a highly trained scientist. He's very distrustful of a lot of technology.
Yeah, I know. But I did it, and I'm getting better at it. Do I like it? No, but can I do it, and will I? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? There are some things that are easier on Zoom. Never would have thought about it, but advising students of what classes to take on Zoom is fantastic.
Well, to go back to Mike's point, so we know Mike we connected with him through the pandemic. He lives in New York City. If he'd only been willing to work with people he could have face-to-face conversations with, we never could have connected with him. I've had the opportunity to connect and become friends with people all over the world. I mean, there's a woman in Essex, England, and where's the other place we're going? A little bit busy, got a city centre.
Oh, we're going to Bristol.
Bristol. So 2 women, one in Essex, one in Bristol. I have become such good friends with because of an online course we took together that we already have it planned that the next time we're in England, I'm going to go pick up the one in Essex and we're going to go to Bristol together. That couldn't have happened if we had only continued our in-person conversation and deciding that the only value was physical, face-to-face. So I think it's about recognizing that change is hard, that we're comfortable in our patterns, even the negative ones, and that the best way to move forward is to just stop and assess what you have decided is an absolute.
Yeah.
And if it is an absolute, okay. But if it doesn't have to be an absolute, or if it could benefit from a shift in thinking, don't be afraid to let something go, because there may be a better way to do it, or not even a better way, just a different way. As we say all the time, not everything needs to be life and death to have impact on you if you make the change. we've made all kinds of minimal changes that have made a big difference in our lives.
We absolutely have.
Nothing that would have killed us to have kept doing, but we've just made small changes because we have discovered there are other ways to do things. So, where do you need to assess what you think is permanent or inflexible? Where do you need to consider, maybe I need to bend on this a little bit?
Yeah.
And some things you need to just let go of outright. You got anything else?
No, that's good. I like that.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow for Guest Thursday. Justin Meitinger is joining us. We're looking forward to this conversation with him. I'll just give you a little preview. Justin is still drinking and trying to figure it out. So we're going to have a good conversation with him, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye.
See you tomorrow.